It's a hearing with major implications when it comes to freedom of speech in our country. It involves Canada Post, the federal government, as well as one controversial newspaper that some have dubbed as hate speech. Tonight, a decision on Your Ward News could be precedent-setting nationwide.
I think Adolf Hitler is, he's my second greatest idol after Jesus Christ.
He's the man behind this controversial publication that's landed on thousands of Toronto doorsteps. But now James Sears' publication, Your Ward News, is the focus of a 3-member review board, trying to establish whether the federal government had legal grounds to make Canada Post stop distributing it.
I mean, we don't distribute child pornography in the mail. Why is this allowed? They have an image in this publication, I can show it to you, of Christ sexually assaulting a girl. Like, how in God's name that can be permitted under any circumstances is beyond me.
Though cameras aren't allowed to shoot their procedures, the board's task is to establish if the minister responsible for Canada Post had reasonable and probable grounds to find a criminal offence had been committed, even though no criminal charges against Your Ward News have officially been laid.
I mean, it remains to be seen whether this even constitutes hate speech, as that term is understood in the criminal code, which is the relevant point of reference, because Canada Post and the minister's authority to limit distribution through Canada Post is circumscribed to cases of actual hate speech.
With a precedent-setting decision pending, today brought out several voices, from Canada Post workers to a self-professed white nationalist. What would you say to those who say Your Ward News is racist?
So what? So what? That's an opinion. They say it's racist. What's racist? And Sears should be allowed to express his opinions on whatever matter, and people are equally entitled to ignore them.
A lot of letter carriers were subjected to delivering this newspaper, and a lot of them are very diverse and had to go through the whole day viewing swastikas, viewing hate, viewing sexist material, rape culture. It really affected a lot of our letter carriers.
With the review board entering uncharted waters, a lot of today's proceedings were tied up in constitutional arguments. One of the first things they have to figure out is if this board even has any power to decide if the Canada Post Act is constitutional. The end goal is for the board to deliver their recommendations to the Federal Minister of Public Services, who will make the final decision. One thing is clear, today is the first step in what everyone agrees will be a very long process.
This is a really important hearing, not just for people in the Toronto area who get this publication, but for everybody in the country.
Under the current order, James Sears isn't allowed to receive any mail, he's not allowed to send out any mail, even personal mail, though he is allowed to receive some mail. Now, a hearing of this nature hasn't happened in our country since 1982, when they tried to take away the mailing rights of a Holocaust denier by the name of Ernest Zundel. It's argued he tried to use the mailing system to push his message, though his Canada Post hearing never concluded.